right, guess what? We have made it to episode 5. I am Brandy.
And I'm Melissa.
Welcome to our YouTube channels. Mine is Trip for Healing, and Melissa's is Lyco Rising. So today we are in October, and we want to talk about past lives and crossing people over. So basically, I'm gonna hand it over to Melissa because she has a lot to say about all this. But I'll just share a little mini story of mine first. So when I got to Flagler Beach is when I found someone from my past life, and I would say that it wasn't something I thought was. It wasn't even something I didn't think was not real, but until I got here and I went, oh my gosh, and what happened to me here in Flagler Beach blew my mind. And I'm going to go deeper into that on a different day, but it was something that it made me now go, oh my gosh, like different relationships in my past. Like, ooh, was that a past life? Was my connection with that guy so deep and crazy, really, that is that why it was? Because if it was a past life, but I really wasn't aware of it, or all the thoughts or the visions or what I thought was daydreaming, was that past life visions I was seeing? Like, it just blew my mind. But yeah, while I was here in Flagler Beach, I had a crazy connection, and to the point where we even had to do a cutting cord ceremony. It got really weird, and I'm going to share more about that. And we do have video of all this stuff too. So that is something Melissa does, is she can do a cutting cord ceremony for you. And it, not only that, but for me, it released cords that were connected probably since I was a little child. And so it did help. It was something that I did need. So back to you.
Yeah, so just exploring this question of life after death. Is there life after death? What happens? There are many people who've had near-death experiences. I have a friend named Stephanie Arnold. She wrote a book called 37 Seconds, and she died while giving birth. She was gone for 37 seconds, and when she came back, she could tell doctors what was happening when she was officially gone. So there's proof all over. Her book is called 37 Seconds. There's proof all over the place that when we die, we're not really gone. And then, well, where do we go, right? That's the question, where do we go? But this question of past lives, I started remembering past lives a while ago. And then once I started remembering past lives, I would start meeting people, not everybody, but when I would meet someone, I would realize, wait, there's something here. And then I started going, well, oh wow, that person and this person. And when I do readings for people, that comes up a lot of like, you've been with this person before, or you've got something you're holding on to from a previous lifetime. That's a big one. You know, we don't realize, not only are we holding on to childhood traumas and things that happened to us in this life, we've also got things from other lifetimes that show up over and over and over.
Okay, so basically we're discussing how you're going to talk about how helping someone pass over. Yeah. Jump into it.
All right, I'll just jump into it. There have been 2 times when I consider myself a celestial shaman or a medium, and I can connect with those that have crossed over. My sister was probably one of the first that came to me, and she showed me many things. But the first time I crossed someone over, I didn't realize what was actually happening. So a friend of mine from high school passed away. And I heard that he passed away. I didn't know any of the details about it. But I was sitting in my meditation, and I felt him there. And I knew he was there. I don't know how to explain that other than I just know he's there. And I'm like, why are you here? And he said, I thought you were the light. So instead of going to the light, he thought I was the light. And so he came to me. And I was very new at this. I'm like, I'm not sure what to do. You can stay as long as you want. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So he was actually with me for 3 days. And at one point, I drove back to my hometown, to Wilton, Maine, and I took him through these different streets all through town. And it was so weird because I did not have an 80s radio station playing, but but it was like all this music from the 80s, and I'm like, whoa, this is intense.
Right.
And then finally, and I was really new at this, so I'm like, I'm not sure what's going on. And finally, I heard I'm ready to go. And so I opened a portal. I brought, Jesus came in, and he left. And that was it. I haven't heard from him again. Oh!
Till now.
That was, I'm going to cry. I can, oh yeah. That's, sorry. That is my friend Kenny. Good guy. I did have a talk to him, like, you kissed me and you told everybody else. It was a lot more. So I like gave him hell while he was sitting there with me in spirit. It was really interesting just having these conversations back and forth. And I don't know how to explain that to others, except there he was. He was sitting with me, and then he was gone. And that was the first time I crossed someone over. I wasn't even exactly sure what I was doing. And then I had another experience here in Flagler Beach that was very different, where a woman I knew, she got sick with cancer, and it progressed very quickly. And within 2 months, she had passed. And I wasn't super close with her. I had met her a few times. And then one evening after her passing, maybe a day or two after, there was this beautiful rainbow in front of my friend's house and over the motel where I was working. It was this massive double rainbow. And this woman's husband came out, and he looked at us, and then he went back home. And then all of a sudden, I felt this woman, I'm just going to call her Sherry. I felt her around me, and I was like, okay. It was completely unexpected because I didn't know her that well. And I came up to have dinner in my apartment, and I could feel her, and I could hear her saying, do you see me? Do you see me? Do you see me? Can you hear me? You can hear me. You can hear me. And I was a little taken aback. And I was just getting images of like the movie Ghost, you know, when Patrick Swayze's like doing all these things, like he realizes like someone can see him.
Yeah.
So I was feeling her. She felt to me like she passed in her sleep, and when she woke up, she didn't realize she passed. Oh yeah. Whew. Sorry, that's what happens. She didn't realize she passed, and so she was very confused, and she had followed her husband around because he wasn't seeing her. It was very much like the movie Ghosts. And so once she knew I could see her, that's what happened when he came out, when we were all looking at the rainbow. He had come out, she was with him, and then she saw me and knew that I was open. So after dinner, I was like, I have to go for a walk. Like, let's go walk. And so we walked down A1A together, and I just talked to her. So strange, you know, I'm walking down the street talking to myself. But she was listening, and I'm like, well, let's just walk. She used to walk her dog up and down A1A. So I just pointed things out and talked like we were both still in physical form. And we got up to the north end of past the pier here, and I sat, and I'm like, you just let me know when you're ready. And she had questions. She's like, I didn't know, I didn't understand, like, what's going to happen, where am I going to go? And I just talked to her. She's like, this isn't part of my beliefs, this isn't what I believe, and I just, after a while, she got calm. And so we walked back down, and to me, numbers have meanings. So I was like, well, which walkover are we going to go down? And we actually went to number 9. And I sat at 9th Street at the walkover and down to the beach and sat there and waited until she was ready. And then I have a connection with Jesus. So I kind of like worked on a portal into the light, and I could see the light forming, and I could see that she saw the light. So then, but it was when he came, and I don't know if she was religious or not, but she saw him. It was like someone like, oh, okay, safety, this feels all right. And I saw him reach out the hand, and then she left. And it was just really profound. I just sat there for a while longer. Sometimes even for me, I'm like, did that really even happen? You know? but I know it did. And that rainbow, and then I come back and someone told me, a friend was like, well, when rainbows appear like that, especially a double rainbow, it's a bridge or a portal or an opening. And I was like, well, it was pretty significant. So to me, having these dealings with those that have crossed over as a medium and working to help them cross over is, it's really just talking to them as if they're still here. And I haven't heard from her since hello, right? But they're around. And often when they cross over, they become guides for those that they've left behind. Um, so yeah, there's been others who have come to me. I was driving once in Massachusetts and driving down this one stretch of road, and I feel this presence, and I'm like, and I hear Dale Earnhardt, and I'm like, okay then, Dale Earnhardt, and it was Dale Earnhardt. He was just sitting there, and I'm like, okay, this is new. What are you doing here? And basically, what I heard was that they used to travel that stretch of road in Massachusetts on their way to Loudon, New Hampshire for the races on the short track. And he was around and I was open and he popped in. And I was like, so you're just going to sit here with me? And I think it was a gift for me because that's the beginning of when I first started doing this. And it was about trust and it was about allowing it in. So he stayed with me for a little while and then he left. And then as a validation or a confirmation, like not a minute later, this Dale Earnhardt tribute car drove by me with the big number 3, and I was like, okay, thank you. So I get the confirmation afterwards too. So it's really fascinating, exploring this topic of life after death. And I know many of my friends will get signs when they come to me, especially in a session with someone. They'll always say like, well, what's our connection? What's the thing that we share? What I'm going to send you a sign. Like, let's pick something. So for a lot of people, it's coins, like pennies or dimes. And then those things will start showing up. And I know a lot of friends who have had people cross have those coins show up. For my sister and I, it was heart rocks. So whenever I see a heart rock, I know that's her sign that she's around.
I just love Melissa and all of her gifts, to be honest. It's something that for me, coming to Flagler Beach and meeting Melissa was an eye-awakening, eye-opening, and, everything that I'm learning and what I'm seeing, and like she's saying, there's always signs, there's giving you signs. People are always, you're always being talked to from the outside world. Yeah, and it's just very fascinating, that some people, like Melissa, she's got some amazing gifts, She hears from others. If you want to talk to someone who's passed over, she's here as a guide, I just appreciate you. I really do. Yeah, and it's been amazing, this whole journey of mine, being in my RV for the last year and focusing on me and my own healing journey, but also seeing so much more than I even imagined, meeting Melissa and then my girlfriend who had taken her life, we were able to, she, is gone now, but what I was able to get messages from her, and then meeting someone from a past life who I just knew the minute I met this person, we're going to call him Chad. And I knew right away there was just something there. It was just so strange to me. And then also accepting that whatever our soul contract is with each other, that it's time for me to dig deep and understand what's going on between us and then figure that out. And it's been very big for me I'm growing so much with this experience because I'm also understanding that accepting this person for who he is, because we're both here for a reason, and then not getting so worked up or upset about certain little things that maybe if you're kind of in a relationship with someone that might bother you initially, but you're like, okay, well, he's here for a reason to help me with certain triggers and I'm here to help him with certain things. And that was just what's what's, our soul contract. So it's just what it is. And it's not for me to just get so like worked up and upset and like have anxiety over, like in a normal relationship where you might have certain things just bother you to death. You kind of go, okay, I got this. Like, I'm here to learn this lesson. And God, I'm just so much more grown up now. I feel like it's just crazy, when you learn these things and you accept them. And, like Melissa has all this experience with being able to talk to people on the other side, you know? Yeah. And she always gets these bursts of energy hits from people, or, you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, these pushes are new within the last year or so. Like it's an energy push, like a confirmation, or maybe someone's here. I never fully know what it is, but if I'm talking about someone and then I get the push, then I know like that they're here, or yes, please talk about it, or
Yeah.
and the past life thing too, like I like what you said about soul contracts, because not every person we have a past life with is going to be a relationship necessarily. So it's really interesting. We have these soul contracts to meet up, and it might be to clear karma. It might be to clear something that happened in another lifetime. It might be to push you in a direction that you didn't know you were going to go in. So one of the first times I really started looking at past lives, I met someone, a friend, and interestingly enough, it was on 11/11/11, and we were just friends. And but we there was some strange draw. There was a draw, and we talked and texted, but we never were together in any way. But we remained connected and remained friends. And at some point, I started remembering, as I was diving into my own skills, these past lives. And basically, they were past lives with him. And one of them was this Native American man that was coming to me. His name was Dancing Bear. And he was telling me this whole story of a lifetime I had as a Native American with this man on horseback. And we would just take off and leave the tribe, and go off on our own. And a series of events happened, a fire, I was killed, all of these different things. And I was telling this person, I'm like, this is what's coming to me. And I said, and the name of this person that's speaking to me is Dancing Bear. And then my friend goes, I just got, you know, I have a tattoo. And I'm like, no. He's like, I have a tattoo of a dancing bear. Ay. So it's like, you really can't make it up, right? I mean, I do have a really great imagination, but I feel like that imagination is what gives me an edge over others, because imagination is the key to understanding and to seeing. You have to be able to have that imaginative space for all of this information to come through. Imagination is a superpower.
Yeah.
In many ways.
Imagination is definitely a huge superpower. My imagination has been wild since I think I was a child. Yeah. And again, like getting to this place in my life, I think back and I go, were those like past life memories when you have these imaginations? But again, we're here to spark a discussion. People who are watching this, and going, do I believe in that? Do I think that? Or is this real? Well, I'm just used to think I was just some normal girl walking through life with a lot of mental health problems and migraines for decades and decades and all these things that I was trying to work on myself. But also going, oh, and then seeing other people talk about these stories and realizing it is real, and it's okay to talk about it. And that's the big thing, is it's okay to talk about it. And one thing I've realized is watching a lot of YouTube now is that a lot of people are finally talking about all of this, past lives, people crossing over, aliens, all these things where, yeah, it is real and it's okay to talk about it, Make your comments below, say what you got to say. Yeah. But anyways, my name is Brandy and my YouTube is Trip for Healing.
And I'm Melissa at Light Girl Rising.
So just know if you want to have a session with Melissa, she's available. You can make a comment below. Find us both also on Instagram. Same thing, Trip for Healing and Light Go Rising. That way you can send a message. Um, yeah, if there's anything you need, we're here. Something you want to talk about, something you want to know about. Let's have these discussions.